Today's guest is a true embodiment of resilience, determination, and inspiration. Robin Tarr is a gold medalist Paralympic coaching consultant, a former elite wheelchair rugby player and coach, and now head of coaching programs for wheelchair rugby. After a life changing accident in 1981, Robin didn't just overcome adversity, he transformed it into a remarkable journey of achievement and service, from the coal mines to the Paralympic Games, and now empowering the next generation of athletes. Robin's story is as powerful as it is moving. We are honored to have him with us today to share his incredible journey. Hi, Robin. Welcome to my podcast.
Very nice to meet you, Vibhor.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yes, thanks for reaching out and wanting to chat to me. It's very nice.
Yeah, I saw your profile. You had an amazing career in sports and as a coach, as an athlete. So, three Paralympic Games, three World Games, three European Championships. Superb career. So, I was really very interested to talk to you and understand about your life, about your experience as an athlete and as a coach. And recently, your team won gold medal in Tokyo Paralympic and in men's final, and in women also recently your UK team won gold medal in 2023 and bronze medal in 2024. So amazing. So many congratulations to you for your team, all these achievements. So Robin, before we talk about all these your championships and all your events, I I I was very curious to know about your background. Like I know about your accident that happened. I think in 1981. It happened in 1981. Am I right?
81,
Yeah,
yes.
right. So what was your life before that accident?
Well, I grew up on a large council estate in England, a place called Nottingham.
Okay.
Um, and I was always a keen sports player. I used to enjoy football. I played rugby for my school. I was a tight head prop. So yeah, sport has always been my passion when I was a young man. And then when I left school, I went to work down the coal mines. That was a trade that my father and my brothers were in. So again, working, going from team sports to working down the coal mine, which was also a team uh, work, was great. Yeah. So that was my youth. Yeah, sport, and then the coal mine when I left sport, when I left school. And then one evening, my friend passed his driving test, and his mum gave him the keys to celebrate. So she gave him the car keys and says, take my car for a spin. I got into the front seat. This was 1981 before seat belts was compulsory. And he took a bend too fast. He flipped the car over and threw me through the car window screen, and I broke my neck on impact. So yes, I severed my spinal cord, and that's why I was confined to a wheelchair.
Okay. And it happened in 19. And what was your age that time? I think 19 years, 19, 20 years.
I say I was, this was 1981, so I was only 16 years old.
Oh.
So yeah,
So Robin, it was very unfortunate, but I want to know that how it changed your life. Like when you came to know about that you would never walk again. So how that news impacted you? How did you process that news when you came to know about that you would never walk again?
well, as I say, they took me to a spinal unit, and I got the news I was never going to walk. Obviously, your life suddenly changes at that point. What you think was going to be your future totally changes on the spot. Um, but luckily, I had a strong family. My mum, dad, my brothers, they was there for me, supporting me. Uh, in the spinal unit, it's a very unique environment. They know you're going to be with them for a long time, so it almost becomes like a family environment. So they're very, very supportive. And then part of the rehabilitation is to introduce you to sport, because it's not just to help, with your body getting strong again, but it gives you something to focus on. So when I was in the Spine unit, I was introduced to different sports, swimming, archery, snooker. So, it was okay, but I was always a team sport player. And because of I'd broken my neck, I was not strong enough to play basketball. So that was an element that I was missing. That, I was looking for that camaraderie in team sport again. So when I left the hospital, I went home to live with my parents. And to be honest with you, yes, it was very difficult because, I felt embarrassed being in a wheelchair because I wasn't not the young, strong man that I was before when I had my accident. Um, for a while, I just became a bit of a recluse. I didn't leave the house. Um, but I had good school friends who come round to visit me and they encouraged me to go out with them. And then suddenly, I found that I could carry on living a life, but I just had to adapt and live that life differently. And I think, to be honest with you, that's probably the strongest uh, word that I can use, being adaptable in life, because that has got me through so many scrapes. The fact that I can adapt. So yes, I adapted to my life to living in a wheelchair and doing everything differently. I learned to drive, so that was one challenge I took. Um, I met a young lady, and we had two daughters together. So I've become a father. So I was, again, another blessing. And then I took up road racing. So I started doing sport. And then I went to the Stoke Mandeville Games in the UK. And at that point, there was a game developed in Canada in '73 called Murder Ball. And it was a mixture of ice hockey, basketball rules, American football. And basically, the Canadians started playing this game and they came over and demonstrated it in 1984 when I was actually doing track. And once I seen the game Murder Ball, that was my life-changing sport, because it was what I'd been looking for. It was a sport that had the team camaraderie. It was rough and tumble, so you could get rid of your frustrations. And yeah, as I say, that was the life-changing moment in my career, being introduced to murder ball, which later became wheelchair rugby.
Great, great, Robin. You had a great story. It's not easy. I can understand it's not easy. Uh, so how many months you stayed in hospital?
9 months.
9 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of physical challenges or mental challenges you faced at time? Uh, because you were having a supportive family, you were supportive medical staff, and still you once you knew that you cannot walk again. Okay. How easy or difficult it was, like living a daily life, uh, and when you came to know about sports, that okay, you decided that instead of surviving I have to move towards sports. So how easy or difficult it was to make that decision? So it was a like some kind of turning event, some happened in your life that time, or it was like a gradual process?
As I say, I think it's a gradual process. I mean, for the first 3 months, I was on bed rest, because that is when, that's when you're on critical care. I'd broken my neck, which so many problems come with a broken neck. While I was in hospital, while I was on bed rest, I had blood clots and pleurisy and bladder infection. So for them first 3 months, it was a very touch and go moment. I could have survived or passed away. Once I got over that 3 month period and then started getting into a wheelchair, that's when you start building your strength up and you can see then, right, I'm on a road to progression here. So that road to progression was finding my independence again. So, they learn you how to dress differently, how to feed yourself. And then obviously the sport is presented to you. So you start challenging yourself and see that you can do sport. And that is the road to recovery. And then the next big leap, because for that 9 months I was in hospital with other people in chairs. And the big challenge is when you leave that hospital, then you're back into the normal environment. And my accident was in the early 80s. And at that point in the UK, there was very little adaptations for people in wheelchairs. So it was a challenge for me, transport. There was no, there's no ramp transport. My house, I went home to live with my mum and dad. The house had to be adapted. Uh, People with disabilities had no disability rights. So it was a challenging time. So not only did I see the progression in myself, but I've also over the years seen the progression for people with disabilities. Given by making the environment suitable for somebody in a wheelchair, you become independent. I mean, the reality is, if the environment is suitable for the chair, then we could be together and both be independent. The only time my independence is challenged is when the environment is against me, when there's like steps or ramp, I can't get around.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yes, it was challenging. So now, because you were sport loving person before, even before that accident, right from your childhood. So then you decided to move towards sports. So what inspired you to get involved in this Paralympic sport? What happened? You mentioned about that exhibition match. What happened that day? Was it some event, something happened that day that you, it was like an immediate decision, or it was again like a gradual process you decided for murder ball? It's an amazing name, murder ball.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed its name to wheelchair rugby, but
Oh, I should tell you about that. Well,
okay.
if I just take it one step back, when I left the hospital, you was given a very heavy chair, and it was very difficult to get around in this chair.
Mm.
And then after a year of being at home, I went to buy a lightweight chair. And to be honest with you, when I first had my accident, just because I was in a wheelchair, I didn't want to be classified as a person who's with a disability, so I didn't want to mix with the people in chairs.
Okay.
When I went to buy a new lightweight chair, I met a guy who was also in a wheelchair doing sport. And suddenly I found that we had a common ground. We had that bond together because he'd also been through a similar process as me. He'd had a car accident and he was doing sport, and he inspired me to do it myself.
Super.
So I started doing sport with my friend called Pete, and we used to go to Stoke Mandeville, and that was where all the people used to be doing different sports. So I used to have a go at everything. I used to do track, field events, swimming, and but the bigger thing than the sport was the social side, because after we'd finished the sport at the end of the day, we used to all go to the bar together and drink and laugh. And obviously we all had this common bond, that we was all struggling in life, but we was getting over it in different ways. And it's a good environment to be in, because where you might struggle, you could speak to somebody who's in in the same sort of having the same problems as you are, and they can give you advice. So it's a great environment to be in, speak to people, like-minded people, we can advise each other. When we talk about when I did see the murder ball, I just I fell in love with the game. I had a group of friends that straight away we started playing the game together, and there was no looking back for me. That was a life-changing moment, and from that moment on, it started off as a social event. It was like Sunday football, where you go and kick the ball around with your friends. So that's how the sport started for me. And as I say, it was called murder ball. We started putting teams together in the UK and competing against one another. And then in '96, we decided to go to Atlanta Paralympics as a demonstration sport. And that's when they said, we need to change the name to something that's more acceptable. Murder ball sounds, a bit violent to take to a Paralympics.
Yeah.
So because it's a full contact sport and we carry the ball over a touch line, like scoring a try, that's where the name wheelchair rugby came in.
Okay.
And you have to understand, well, it's a mixed gender. It was a mixed gender sport, so men and women playing together, which is very unusual because there's not many sports where men and women compete on a level playing field. So
Mm.
yes, that was a big thing. So Atlanta was a great experience. It was the first time I ever felt like an athlete. You know, we were represented Great Britain. One went into the opening ceremony. There was 80,000 people there, fireworks going off, people coming down for autographs. So suddenly, when I talked about, Sunday football, I suddenly felt like an athlete. So that was a big changing point in my life. The first Paralympics in Atlanta, 1996. It was a demonstration sport. Everybody loved it. And then after 96, my next game was in 2000 in Sydney, and that was a full medal sport when we went to play in Sydney. And again, a great moment because the Australians love sport. So every day when we played, we had around 10,000 spectators come and see us play.
Wow. So, Robin, wheelchair rugby, murder ball, it is an intense game. It is aggressive game. So, what is a special thing about that game that attracts you? Why only murder ball? Why not any other game, any other therapy? What makes you uh, to to become like fond of that game so much that you started devoted your life for that game, attended Paralympic events and later on become a coach. So, what excites you about that game?
I think the special thing about our game is because it's an invasion sport. Uh, People sometimes think because you're disabled, you need to be wrapped up in cotton wool and protected. And then suddenly they see you playing a sport where you're hitting one another and you're falling out the chair, and then you're getting picked back up, and then you're going again. So it's becoming a really good media sport because people are getting so involved in the sport, and
Yeah.
basically, and it's very tactical as well. It's a very tactical game,
How
and
different it is from watching that game and then playing that game. So, how easy or difficult it is? Like, what kind of transition happens when you're first you watching that game, when you were visiting that exhibition matches, okay, and then later on when you started playing that game. So, was it easy for you or
I think I took to it straight away because obviously I told you
okay?
before, I was always a rough and tumble sort of guy before my accident, playing rugby and things like that. So
Okay.
I took to the sport straight away. Um, it's a tough sport because you're hitting one another all the time. It's a stop start sort of sport. So it's very adrenaline fueled. Uh, and you can life can be frustrating being in a wheelchair, and it's a good platform to get rid of a lot of your frustrations. And when everybody's good friends off the court, and then when you go on the court, you just give it your all and yeah, smash each other. And the women are as strong as the men. They go out and they hit it
Yeah,
they hit as hard as the guys do. So yeah, I just really took to the sport. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I enjoyed the camaraderie. It's a very family orientated sport. So I through my sport, I've got friends all over the world. I play against them, but afterwards we keep in touch. So I I just can't praise it enough. And there's been an evolution as well. Evolution of the classification, evolution of the chairs. I mean, the chairs have all changed over the years. The rules have been changing to make the game faster and better for the media. Even this year's has been new rule changes coming in. So it's forever changing, which is great for me as a player. Um, I captained when I played in Athens, so I started getting more involved in not just my individuality, but looking after my teammates. And I think that was the progression that took me on to coaching. So when I retired as a captain in 2004, that's when I went into coaching my sport.
So, Robbie, when you're playing this game, so what s- extra effort you have to do, like for all disabilities, uh, what kind of exercise they have to follow, what kind of routine they have to follow, diet, and what kind of exercise, and what kind of lifestyle they have to follow when you're playing this game, especially in Paralympics.
Okay. Well, obviously people start playing the game when by joining clubs. And I think the first thing that the reason why somebody joins a club is for the social side. So
Hmm.
you find a local club and everybody welcomes you into that club. And you might just go there to be social, you might want to lose weight, you might just want to keep fit. So there's lots of elements why you play the game. If you want to become a Paralympian, then you go to the next level and you have to put in every bit as much work as an Olympian would put in. So, like you were saying, you have to train hard. So you train in 5 or 6 times a week. It's not just rugby training. You need to do strength and
Hmm.
conditioning. So you're in the gym. As you say, you have to get your nutrition right. So we work with nutritionists, so you get all your right proteins and carbohydrates. We have a team of physios, so we know how to look after your muscles because obviously everything is put through our shoulders and arms, so you need to look after yourself in that respect. Um, and it's not just I'm talking about all physicality at the moment, but then you have to have your mental preparation as well.
Right.
So, you really have to focus. If you want to get to the top, then you have to do all the things necessary to get to the top. So you have to study the game, study your opposition. So as well as learning from your coach, we also challenge the athletes to go online, look at the opposition, and be physically ready, but also mentally ready to play against some games because it's a very big pressure environment. When you go to Paralympic Games, you've got all them spectators there, which is exciting. But there's a lot of pressure when you're playing for your country, because it's all about winning medals. So, but yes, very important that you get your athletes in that right mindset. Um, we build a culture, so it's getting the team, everybody all on the same page. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to win together. Everybody supports one another. And you know, if you lose games, often you learn more about losing than you do about when you win. Because when you lose, we always go away and we have a debrief and look at what we did well and look at the areas that we have to work on, and then you have a new focus for the next game coming along. So it's very challenging. When you go to a competition like that, you're playing sometimes 2 games a day, and yeah, so the preparation is demanding, but then rewarding at the end of the game.
Yeah. So, you are a self-motivated person. So, and you were always like a sport-loving person. But what about the other players who have come from different background and for different reasons, maybe accident or some other reason, uh, they were disabled. So, uh, how difficult or easy, whatever you say that what it was to keep everyone on the same page, all of them motivated all the time, like when you're participating in such kind of events. Okay. So because you were self-motivated, you were sport-loving person. But what about other team players? What about other players you meet every day? So how you keep them motivated? Okay, because uh, maybe they are not so much sport loving people. Okay, they were um, they had some issues in their life because of which now they are living this kind of life. So, but how you keep them motivated? What was a challenge thing in this?
Well, I think all the people who play Paralympic sport have all got a disability. I
Mm.
told you that my disability was a spinal cord injury. You get people with disabilities at birth. Obviously, people with disability, we have amputees through deer accidents, and then you have people with degenerative muscle diseases and things. So for me, a Paralympian, everybody's got resilience and come over problems just to get over the disability. So when they come into sport, they've already gone through challenges and overcome challenges. So I think for me, that's already a big step towards being motivated and wanting to play sport, because they've already gone through a lot of problems in their lives and overcome them problems. They've shown resilience. So showing that resilience to actually even get involved in sport helps when you go into games. So I think the motivation comes that everybody's been through a trauma in their life and overcome that trauma, and then we're working together to then win medals. So when we get together as a team, everybody has a voice in the team, so everybody tells each other how they feel. We all agree what we want. And when everybody agrees what we want, then we have a focus, and then you can hold them people then accountable to that focus. So when I'll give you an example of what we did before we went to Tokyo, which it was just after we missed the 220 because of COVID, so we went to Tokyo in 221. That's when we won the gold medal, and
Okay.
I was on the coaching staff then.
I saw that game. It was wonderful. It was
Yeah,
Americans were favorite, but UK won that game. It was wonderful. I saw
well,
that game.
we was fifth in the world, so to beat the Americans in the final, it
Yeah,
was an amazing thing. But normally before a Paralympic Games, we have lots of events, going towards the Paralympics. So you get a feel of where all the teams are. But because of COVID, nobody knew.
yeah.
And we worked with the athletes a lot. We did a lot of video calls with the athletes.
Okay.
And because we couldn't be physical, we worked a lot on tactics. So we showed the athletes a lot of videos of different teams. And it was a good time, it was a good time to work with the athletes that way, getting them very tactically aware. Then the athletes also was, when we talked, they was very strong. I mean, they did all their own training on their own. So they might be pushing around a car park or throwing the ball against a wall, but everybody was committed, doing their own thing. And none of the countries knew what each other was doing until we actually got out there and obviously competed. One of the challenges that I had actually before, about 3 weeks before we went out to Tokyo, I caught COVID, and
Oh,
I couldn't travel with the team, which was such a disappointment and a difficult thing to deal with. But because we was a strong team, my team arranged a video link. So when we was playing, I had a live video link to the other coaches who was on the court side, and I was watching the games at home in the UK, and I was giving my insights to the coaches on the court. And in many ways, that negative, what happened to me, turned out to be a positive, because when you're in the Paralympics, obviously you're caught up in all the hype. And I wasn't in that hype. I was at home, relaxed, watching it on TV, and I could say to the coaches, "Hold on, I think we should try this."
cool-minded. So
And
you
it and
were
it worked.
able to
Yeah,
find out.
and it worked to our advantage. So yeah,
Yes.
it was great. I mean, it was difficult that when we won the gold, I wasn't there to celebrate with the team, but I celebrated with them afterwards when we got back.
Superb. It was superb. And so, what do you say that how it reshaped your identity and your confidence, this game overall, and not only you, for other people who are having disability and who are playing this game.
I think playing the game, it makes you stronger because you're a team. It brings, you're no longer a person on your own with a disability. You're a you know you being in that environment with 12 other people around you. That's your family. That's your strength, and you all channel that strength together as a unit. So I think, we all show resilience because, as I said to you before, we've all come through different challenges in life, so we've got that resilience together. We all trust one another. That's our glue together as a team. And I think the fact that, we've had to adapt in life to a disability, it makes us very adaptable as athletes. So when we play different teams, we can adapt to the team and play together as one. So that's where I think the strength lies in wheelchair rugby in particular. That yeah, it's a very family oriented environment, and although there's 12 of you, you play as one.
Great. So you participated in three Paralympics. First one was Atlanta, second one Sydney, and third was Athens. Am I
Yes.
correct? Okay. So which one is your favorite one? What as an athlete that you learned the most, you enjoyed the most, and then I think you retired as an athlete and became coach. So which one is your favorite, which has a lot of good memories for you?
I think they all bring memories.
Okay.
Obviously, Atlanta was my first, so that was exciting. Although there was very a lot of challenges in Atlanta because
That was the
the
first
access,
event.
yeah, the
Yeah.
accessibility was not good. It was not very well organized. So there's a lot of challenges in
Okay.
Atlanta. Sydney was probably my favorite. They call that the Golden Games because that was in Australia, beautiful environment, lots of spectators, everything very, very well organized. And the athletes was also, GB athletes was funded. So first time we'd actually had funding to give us support. And then the big one, for Athens, that was like the home of the Olympics. So it's, competing where the Olympics actually originated from was a big one. Being the captain of the squad was an honor. So that was a special one for me. And then at the end of that, I felt that I'd accomplished as much as I wanted to as an athlete. And then I wanted to face new challenges. So I went on to do some mentorship with young people with behavioral problems. I worked in different areas. I did development coaching. And yeah, that's when I found a new passion. And that new passion was coaching.
Superb. So were there any moments in your life when you felt like giving up and especially in
Yeah.
these events?
I mean, we talk about. I'm talking to you about all these high moments,
Hmm.
but obviously in between these highs, there was low moments. When you go
Yeah.
to a tournament and you don't do as well as you hope to do, so you have to work with get yourself back up when you feel down. I've had medical setbacks. I've broken my leg a couple of times from falling from a chair. Um, then there's just normal setbacks that everybody has in life. I've gone through divorce, gone through different trauma. So, there's as I say, we always talk about the highs, but I think it's the
Hmm.
lows that actually make you the person that you are. Because when you're fighting, and it's that resilience, pulling yourself back up again. I think that's what makes you the person that you are.
Yeah.
Holding the medal up at the end is great, but it's all the tough moments behind that makes you that strong, resilient person.
So from where you got that resilience and strength to deal with all these issues?
Yeah,
What
it's
do you
it's.
think? From where you got all this resilience and strength? Was it like from your childhood you were strong, or life taught you all these lessons?
I think it's a life lesson. A life lesson. I mean, as I said to you before, I grew up on a big housing estate with lots of children, so already I grew up in a competitive environment. You had to fight your way um, to get a position at school. You had to fight to get a job. you have to be fight to be accepted. So right from being a child, I, I had challenges, and then
Mm.
I got through an accident, which was more challenges. So I just feel that having lows in life makes you fight to be the person that you are, and pressure. I talk to businesses, and they ask me because obviously, I've played as a team, I've coached a team, and business is all about teamwork as well. So they ask me the question, but how can they make their workers stronger? And I'll say sometimes, well, nobody, nobody wants to be put under pressure, but sometimes being under pressure makes you a stronger person, because when you put somebody under pressure, that's when you find out who that person is. Are they
Right.
going to collapse under pressure, or are they
Mm.
going to find ways of getting through it? And yeah, so for me, we used to put our athletes on court under a lot of pressure and see how they deal with pressure, and if they could come through pressure in training, then you know that when they go on the court, they're going to get through them. So basically, if you can try and put a scenario there, put somebody in that scenario where they're struggling, then you can see if that person's going to come out, what sort of person that person's going to be when they come out the other side. Are they going to be a stronger person for it, or are they going to break?
Right.
Luckily, I've always come out on top. So yeah,
That was amazing. Yeah, that was
nothing.
amazing. Yeah, Robin. So now I will talk about your later life, like coaching. That when you how why you did decide to become a coach? Uh, was it already planned, or it was happened like all of a sudden? Because you retired as an athlete, so you wanted to stay with this game and want to stay with this associate with this game in whatever way possible, or how it was like easy for you to transition from athlete to coach.
Well, I never foreseen myself being
No.
as a coach.
Okay.
It's not something that I planned to do.
Okay.
I think, as I said to you before, the fact I was a captain for a few years, that gave me that leadership. So I was leading, a bit more leading my team, and I
Hmm.
was like
Right.
the liaison between the coaches and the players. So it gave me a taste of leadership when I was a captain. When I left the sport, as I said to you, I did some mentorship. So I worked with young children with behavioural problems. So again, it was that nurturing. So I enjoyed that side of it, nurturing people and then getting the rewards of seeing them excel.
Great.
I was asked to help with the development, GB development. So that's what got me into coaching. And it's my environment. Again, I've gone back into that rugby environment where I'm comfortable. And obviously, having all them and years of experience as a player gave me the confidence and the respect from the players
Yeah.
that I was coaching. Um, and yes, when you put a game plan together and you've seen that game plan work, it's very rewarding. I mean, I must
Yeah.
admit, it doesn't replace being on the court. I always enjoyed being a player, but you get a different reward as being a coach. And it's a lot of it is about man management. I like people, and I think the fact that I like people, that is why I enjoy coaching, because I meet all these different people. I get to know the different characters, and then you learn how to manage their characters, because in a rugby team we've got 12 people, men and women, so everybody's different, you know. So it's getting to know them different people's characters. It's getting to know how you deal with them people, and then trying to bond them all together. And
Right.
that's something that I enjoy doing. Yeah, I do a lot of it through humor. I mean, I've worked with many different coaches. Some have been very, very strict coaches. Some shout, and Some coaches are very just democratic, and it's just finding that nice balance. So when you get to know the person that you're working with, then you know how you should approach them, whether you need to tell them how to do things or pull it from them. So yeah, everybody's different.
Great. So what quality generally you look in great players when you, as a coach, physically as well as mentally, when you're selecting your team?
Well, you see, I think you see natural leaders in people, so they're all your captains. I think it's always important that you get strong captains.
Mm,
We tend to go for co-captains now. I think it's always good to have two captains. Uh, and when your players have any problems, first they go to the captains, and then the captains come to the coaches. So it's like sometimes the players are not always feel that they can be completely open with a coach, but they can be open with a captain. So that's a good thing to do. Um, Sorry, and what else
So
would you
what
like?
qualities you generally look like when you're selecting a team or preparing a team for events like Paralympics? So what kind of means physical as well as mentally, how they are different from other players? How do you choose? How do you prepare your team?
Well, it's you look for lots of qualities in your players. I mean, as I say, leadership is one of the things
Mm.
that we look for players. Engagement, you need your players to engage, and you need your players to trust in what you're doing. So when we do a game plan, everybody needs to buy into that game plan. Um, we call we interested. I worked with a guy who used to be a commando in the special forces, and he used to call his team teams either assassins or ninjas. So the assassins are players that don't go along with what you want, and the ninjas are the players that support the coaches and get the players to work with them. So yeah, the qualities in that we look for is empathy. Um, Players are enthusiastic. Players are willing to learn. Players are willing to give. So yeah, that makes your
And it's
team
a
look.
team game, so communication also plays its role.
You picked up a great
Communicate with each other. Mm.
communication is key.
Yeah,
Communication is key to
it's a team
everything.
game. Yes.
It's a team game. So yeah,
Mm.
communication. Everything that we do is that is the base of everything we do is communication. Yes.
Right, right. So, Robin, how different it is to coach a Paralympic team, Paralympic athletes, compared to able-bodied athletes?
Again, they're all everybody's the same. Everybody's got the different characters. Like I say again, it's man management, finding out what that person needs from you, and you fuel that person. So I would say the only difference is, obviously Olympians, they have injuries and they have to get over injuries, and they have their own problems in life that they have to overcome. I just feel that Paralympians, because they've gone through a trauma in their life, they've already got a natural resilience. You know,
Yeah,
they show that they can overcome things in life.
they're stronger compared to Olympians in terms of dealing with such kind of stress and anxieties.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know everybody, the Olympians are strong as are Paralympians, but I just feel that Paralympians have that natural core strength because they've gone through a trauma in life and come out the other side and play sport.
Right, you're absolutely right. That is their natural ability that has been developed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, obviously we're talking at the moment about my high performance level of coaching, which I no longer do. So after we won the gold in Tokyo, I felt that I'd achieved again. That was my achievement. That was my lifetime goal, was winning the gold medal for Great Britain, whether it be as a player, as a coach. So I felt I ticked that box. So now I've gone back to grassroots coaching. So now I go to development countries like Indonesia, and a few weeks ago I was in South Africa,
Okay.
South America. So now I've gone right back to my grassroots where I started, and now I'm working with players who are just coming through injuries or struggling to get equipment, and just learning, learning the process of what I learned, back when I was in my teens. So
Okay.
I'm really enjoying it now, going right back to square one and working with grassroots.
So how do you bring out best in these players emotionally, mentally, physically? How much time does it take to prepare a world-class team?
To prepare a world class team for a
Yeah.
world class team, it can take years. It can
Oh,
take years. It all depends on. You have to understand that the world class team, luckily, they have lots of support behind them. But it's the support network that can speed things along.
mm,
So at the moment, for a performance team, you need a performance director that can have a plan for the year. Then you have the coaches that plan all your sessions, working on the right things. You have to travel because obviously at the moment, if GB was the best in Europe, then they had to travel over to America, Japan, Australia. So you've got to always be playing the best in the world to, to make you strong. There's no, you can't keep playing easy teams. So you have to go and find the strongest team, and that's where your players build up their strength. Because as I said to you before, players have always got to be under maximum pressure to give the
yes.
best performances.
So what has been your proudest moment in your life as a coach?
The proudest moment, as I say, the build up to Tokyo, we had a lot of proud moments because we was going. As I say, after the Rio cycle, was number 6 in the world. We lost all this funding. UK sport had no more trust in us, so then we had to start looking for sponsorship and extra support to carry on. But we had that self belief that we could do it. So we lost the funding in 2016. 2017, we went to the European Championships and we won it. So we showed that we still had that, fight in us, won the European Championships. And then gradually, as we went to different tournaments, we was beating teams like the USA, beating Australia. So beating teams that we've never beaten before. So they was all great moments because we could see see the culture and all the work we'd putting in was paying off. We was obviously on the right trajectory. And then obviously the ultimate prize, getting the gold, beating USA in the final in Tokyo. That was an amazing turning point for Great Britain.
And
And
how did you feel about the UK women team? They also won gold medal in 2023. And now I think 2024 in bronze medal. You mentioned about
yes,
it. Yes.
so now we're very much building on female participation
Okay, that's
because
great.
ours has always been a mixed gender sport, but when we've gone to national events, the women have been a minority. So now we want to try and start building women's confidence up and bringing more women into the team. So by doing that, we've started putting an all-female events together. So my first all-female event was when I went to Paris in 2023, and I coached the Great Britain women's team, and we won the gold medal. And when we came back, that was a great inspiration for all the women in GB because they've seen what the women did. So now we're having more women training with the teams. We've just come back from Paris again this December, where I took a very young team out. Two of the girls were only 16 years old.
Okay.
So we had we had a young team and we got the bronze medal. So again, that was a great lift because now we're getting a lot of youth coming into the squads. And I think the natural evolution, now is that in years to come, I could see an all women's Paralympic team at some point. So yeah,
So, what is the most rewarding part of coaching Paralympic athletes?
for
What is the
the
most rewarding part of coaching Paralympic athletes for you? What is the most rewarding part of all these
uh,
years?
well, the thing is, I mean, it's the biggest stage for disabled sport is the
Yeah.
Paralympic Games. I mean, when you look at, obviously the World Games, whether it be for, for football and things, we all have, everybody has their platform,
Yes.
which where they want to compete. And obviously for disability sport, the biggest platform for us where we get the most spectators is the Paralympic Games. And it comes around every 4 years. So, in between in them 4 years, you go into European championships, you go into world championships, just to qualify to actually get a place in the Paralympics. So getting to a Paralympic Games is a challenge on its own. So when you actually get there, that's great. Just actually getting to a Paralympic Games, but then again, it's all the different sports in the Paralympic Games all train in their own little bubble. So you might not see archery, you might not see the basketball players, field eventers, but when you go to Paralympics, you all go together. So, all these disabilities, all the different sports, all under the umbrella of your national flag. So it's such an honor. You
Yes, I
represent
know.
your country,
Yes.
and when you come back, I remember when I come back from Sydney, I was invited to Buckingham Palace, and I got the pleasure of meeting the Queen. And so yeah, when you think I've come from the coal mines when I was able-bodied to be invited to Buckingham Palace and meeting the Queen of England, what a transformation! And
Yes.
that's what sport can do for you.
Great. Great story. So, Robin, how do you see the future of wheelchair rugby?
Yeah, I think
Are there
it's
any changes required? Any improvements required?
well, as I say, I think we've got as far as we have now with the equipment, because I told you the equipment's changing all the time, getting refined, like Formula One cars, it's just getting more and more refined to get the best out of you get the best out of the athletes, so you need to get the best equipment for that athlete to play in. As I said to you before, now we've changed the classification to encourage more females to come onto the teams. So we're seeing more female athletes playing in the national squads now, and obviously it's become a really big media sport. So um, hats off to people like Channel 4 and the BBC, and lots of other obviously channels now are really focusing. Um, I actually work now with World Wheelchair Rugby, and we're the governing body. So I work globally now, not just with GB. I work with all the wheelchair rugby nations, and trying to make them as strong as possible. So the exciting thing is now, I think about wheelchair rugby is no longer is it a one horse race. All the teams now are coming through, and anyone can win. Anyone can win. Not at one time Oceania used to be very strong. At one time, obviously America was strong, but now European teams are all getting strong, and we're trying to bring in now, I'll say South American teams, and India has also got 200 athletes now, so they're getting strong in the wheelchair rugby. So the great thing that I see, for me, the future is just seeing as many member nations on the podium. It's exciting.
Great, Robin. You have done a lot of work for wheelchair rugby. So, you have worn many hats as an athlete, coach, speaker. So, what do you want your legacy to be?
And my legacy, I enjoy helping people, and it'd be nice to know, when athletes get to the stage where I was, perhaps but just getting to the Paralympic Games, knowing that I might have been part of that journey, helping him there. So yeah, my legacy. I've just done a book collaboration with a couple of people from the USA and a few people from the UK, all telling our different stories. How we've got through disability to uh, get to good places in life, whether it be a sports person or a businessman or just overcoming your disability. So yeah, I think my legacy would be that I've helped people through their journey as people have helped me through ours. And yeah, whatever their success in life, whether it be sport or a job role or just happiness. And I think what I haven't mentioned throughout all this is fun. The main thing is having fun in life, so you've got to make it enjoyable.
Right.
So even though you're pushing your athletes all the time, they've got to be enjoyment there as well. You've got to come away with, yeah, I like to see people leave my session with a smile on their face.
So, what changes would you like to see that people, society as a society, view disability? What kind of changes, improvements? What do you think, revolution? What kind of mindset you think is required still?
Yeah, there is still a bit of a mindset. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd like to see, just inclusive, total inclusiveness, and just people accept people with disabilities as part of the system. I mean, I've got a local club. That I'm a chairman of the Leicester Tigers. It's a rugby club in Great Britain, and the rugby club is a very successful club. They have a Premiership men, a Premiership women, and now they have a wheelchair rugby club, which is us. And on their awards evening, everybody's invited, and everybody goes up on the stage, and everybody receives an award. And there's no discrimination; it's complete inclusiveness. And I think that for me is what I'd like to see. I mean, there's still places that I go in England where I can't get in. There might be steps. Places perhaps in London where you struggle with transport. And if we can make the environment uh, accessible for all, then the reality is there's no disability because everybody can do do the same thing. So yeah, an all-inclusive world for me is ultimately what I'd like to see. Where there's
What
no
message do you want people, especially youngsters, take from your story?
Yeah, well, as I said, when I had my accident, there was very few people around in wheelchairs or with disabilities, and I had no knowledge of it at all, and so that was a challenge. I think now, it's more accepted in society. You see people on TV, whether it be in the Paralympic Games or people in programs or people in films with disabilities. Where before they used to separate in schools people with disabilities and able-bodied children. Now everything is inclusive. So I think if a child grows up with somebody with a disability, when they become an adult, they accept them more. So I think if we start at a young age having children accept all the different genders and all the different disabilities and different cultures, different races, they'll grow up to be better people because when they become adults, they'll accept everything. Everybody's acceptable. At the end of the day, we're all people. We're all got opinions, and yeah, I think that would be the ideal world.
Right. So, for someone facing life-changing injury today, so what message you want to give to them?
Right. Well, as I say, find a strong support network. If you often your families are the first people that you turn to, but there are also lots of organisations and clubs and things that you can reach out to, and that's where the support network is. So as I say, my support network, if anybody wants to play wheelchair rugby, you reach out to a wheelchair rugby club, and I can guarantee you that they would make you welcome. But that goes for any of the disability. You might be, if any of the sport has their own national governing body you can reach out to. But there's also, if you want to get into work, the support networks throughout. So it's finding the right support network that you help you find help you overcome them challenges. And I would just say that you have obstacles in life, but you can overcome any obstacle. Anything's achievable if you have the right mindset. So you need to have that focus that you really want to do something, and then just focus on it and talk to the right people that we overcome the obstacles, so you can find that thing that you want to do.
Robin, you are a great inspiration. I think many people should learn from you and should listen to you, that your insights, your experience, your story, and definitely they should adopt that kind of attitude in their life. So looking back, what kind of what do you want to tell yourself, your younger self, uh, in those hospital days, if you want to look back?
Well, funny enough, I mean, even though I was going through a trauma at the time, I enjoyed the hospital days because, as I said to you, I had the right people around me. The nurses and everybody was very supportive. I made friends, lifelong friends, while I was in hospital. We all went through it together. So it's a strange one. I mean, if you asked me if I'd have known I was going to have an accident, would I have got into the car that day? And to be honest with you, no, because although I've accomplished a lot in life, life's also been hard. It's been a tough life. I've had to overcome a lot of challenges. But who's to say that if I had not got in the car and spent my life as an able-bodied person, I'm sure I'd have had equally amount of challenges to overcome. I just think that if you can be adaptable in life and just overcome problems, you learn from it, and you learn from them problems, and then just if it just makes you a stronger person. So
You had such an amazing story, Robin, such a great life you lived, and so many experience, so many things I learned from you. So it was an honor for me to have you on this podcast, and you shared your insights, you shared your story, you shared your experiences, and you shared your challenges and how you overcame that challenges, your strategies, everything. So I learned a lot from you. So I hope that the youngsters, because I started this podcast just for those youngsters, those people who easily give up, okay, who easily get distracted, okay, and whether it's career, whether it's their personal life, they easily get demotivated and easily get distracted and easily get like give up. Okay, so they should learn that life of, especially from masters like you, like they want everything fast, very fast. They are ambitious, but they don't have patience and all those things, qualities, especially persistence and all these things that is required to become a master. So it was really an honor to have you on my podcast, and you shared all these wonderful insights, your experiences. Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you so much. Anything you would like to add?
well, first off, thank you for inviting me along. It's been really nice chatting with you. It's been very nice meeting you. I would just say that on that last note, nothing in life comes to you. You have to go out and get it. So if you want something in life, you really do have to go out and get it. And there's different ways, some people can help, but sometimes you just have to make things happen. So, if any, you've got my contact details now. If obviously I've spoken about different areas, but if anybody wants to know a little bit more in depth how you can get there, because obviously, I've worked with psychologists. Um, I've done lots of different things, so there's I can give little tips on perhaps how you can get to places where you want to be. So yeah, I'm always open for you to
Yeah,
contact
I will
me.
mention your contact details in the description page. I will definitely mention that.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah,
can mention your if you want, you can mention your how to reach you. Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a website? Anything?
well, obviously,
Okay.
if anybody wants to Google Rob Tarr,
Or any
uh,
social media. You are having a LinkedIn page. I know.
I'm,
You are.
I'm, I'm
Yes.
I'm on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
so I can always be found in through social media, and
Yeah.
I like you say I cover a lot of areas, and I'm always happy to help people in any areas that I can. Yeah, with pleasure.
Great. Thank you so much, Robin, for all this wonderful information that you shared with us, and wish you all the best for your next project. So,
Yeah, well,
what you are looking for next project? What is your what is the thing that you have still not achieved? Any milestone
well,
that is still not?
at the moment, we're writing some coaching courses, so that's going to go on the Wheelchair Rugby site soon. So I'm working with the Academy of Sport. So yeah, trying to get more coaches because if I find leaders, if I can make a leader, then they bring the teams in. So yeah, my job now is to help find leaders and give them skill sets and tools so they can carry on the work that I'm doing. Um, we have Turkey interested in wheelchair rugby, so that'll be my next might be my next challenge is getting Turkey playing wheelchair rugby.
Okay,
Possibility for perhaps Thailand later on in the year as well. So yeah, they're my next project, and we also are looking at getting a World Games for women. So yeah, that's the next big project where we're going to have a World Games just for the women team rather than the mixed team. So yeah, that's the next thing on our agenda.
great, Robin. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best and have a
Thank you
nice
very
day.
much. Pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
Okay.
Okay,
Have a nice
thank you.
day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. A massive thank you to Robin Tarr for joining us and sharing such a powerful story of strength, purpose, and perseverance. From navigating the toughest of life's challenges to reaching the pinnacle of sport and giving back as a mentor and leader, Robin, you truly are a testament to the human spirit. If his story moved you, as it did us, be sure to check out his keynote talks and school outreach work. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.